That you have joined us here. Jeremy Fowler is in Wisconsin for tonight's game, and he joins us now. Yes, I just did a pivot. Jeremy, I almost fell over too. What should we know about Micah Parsons' back issues? And in a short week of prep, how much should we actually expect to see him on the field tonight?
Laura, well, the Commanders expect Parsons to not only play, but play more snaps than he did last week when he logged 29 snaps. So the Packers are trying to ease him in over the last few weeks. They don't want to overdo it. They have enough players where they can bring him in rotationally, but Parsons has been lobbying behind the scenes for more snaps. So you could see Green Bay take the tarp off the Ferrari at least a little bit more. Now, Jaden Daniels welcomes any and all pass rush. I talked to teammate Frankie Luvu. He said Daniels loves the bright lights of a game like this. Now, in the Packers offense, dealing with some issues on the offensive line. Both Aaron Banks and Zach Tom, the right tackle, did not practice at all in this short week due to injury, so they could be out. I'm told Tom is dealing with oblique pain. He wants to play, is trying to fight through it, but Green Bay could keep it cautious. They have Darian Kennard, Jordan Morgan that can fill in those spots. But regardless, Laura, Josh Jacobs wants to tote that rock. I spoke to Jacobs this week. He said he told Matt LaFleur personally that I'm ready for a big workload, and that getting a Thursday night game this early in the season is a blessing for a running back.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the workload's certainly something to look out for there for Josh Jacobs. Maybe some fantasy owners paying attention. By the way, the Commanders have not won in Green Bay since 1988. For reference, that was the year I was born, so that's 36 years ago. All right, Jordan Love has not thrown an interception in his last 8 starts. That's one shy of Aaron Rodgers in 2018 for the longest streak by a Packers quarterback since 1970. He had 23 picks in his first 26 career starts. For reference, Love has an 83 QBR in his last 8 starts, which is the best in the league and over 20 points better than his first 26 starts. You see the improvement already from Jordan Love. He's been great, but there are some questions about the Packers O-line. You just heard Jeremy reporting on that, Dan. That's I agree. It perks my ears up. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, it's concerning because if you watched last week in this Washington front, the guy that's popped was Javon Kinlaw.
Oh, man.
And so you got to have a plan to at least get started with Kinlaw. Now, Deron Payne's still there. Dorrance Armstrong was good. Johnny Newton good. But Kinlaw was, in many ways, like a game record. So I think if you're the Packers, before potential injuries to your offensive line, it was a huge thought of, okay, where's Kinlaw? Are we going to single him? Are we going to double him? He was a big problem for the Giants offensive line, both in the run game and the pass game. That is something to pay attention to tonight. Can they handle Kinlaw on the interior, both run and pass?
And to your point, with how well he played, it allowed the guys around him to play really good. Dietrich Wise, the guys they brought over from New England, he had multiple pressures. So I look at this Commanders team, they love to play man-to-man, and they're going to get those opportunities to do so. So when they do that, can they cover up these wide receivers? And then for the Commanders, can you get that pressure with just 4, not forcing you to have to blitz? Because the thing is with Jordan Love, as we've seen, is when you do get pressure on him, that's when the mistakes start to happen. When he has time in the pocket, when he's able to get outside and get the throws off platform and all of those fun things, then we love the player that he is. But in this game, when he has pressure on him and he's forced to make a decision, like right here, Anzalone should be intercepting this ball going the other way. So I think it comes down to that. To your point, can you stop Kinlaw? Can you stop the pressure? And then what are the decisions that Jordan Love is going to make when the pressure does get close to him?
Yeah, and Peter, no guy really separated himself at wide receiver from the pack. See what I did there last week? Is that a positive or a negative for Jordan Love?
They're perhaps unlike any other wide receiver room in football in that although they drafted someone in the first round, there's 31 flavors. You have to account for everybody. 10 different players caught passes for the Green Bay Packers last week. Only one of them caught 3 passes or more. So if Jordan Love's going to throw the ball all over the yard to 10 different guys, who do you prepare for? Is tonight the Dontavian Wicks game? Is it the Jaden Reed game?
Yeah.
Or is it the Matthew Golden game, who only had 2 catches for 16 yards, but we have been hearing so much about throughout the summer? I think it's an advantage. There's a lot have been made that they don't have a true number 1. Well, they have 9 number 2s, if you will.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, how do you prepare for that as a defensive coordinator? Let's see what Joe Witt Jr. has in store.
Yeah, the Green Bay offense, Washington defense, so much tonight will come down to like matchups. You know, the matchup of how you're going to block certain guys in the front, the matchup of how you're going to pick up Bobby Wagner when he's a pressure guy or Frankie Louvu when he's a pressure guy, who matches up offense, exactly, secondary-wise. You're trying to get guys on a Trey Amos, who's a young player. I don't really think going after Sainristil's a great opportunity because he's a really nice player. So it's like trying to find those matchups on either side will be the chess game when it comes to Green Bay offense, Washington defense.
Not many better at a chess game than Matt LaFleur either.
Totally.
So you'd love to see it. All right, let's get to some top stories with Adam Schefter joining us now. And Shefty, let's start with Brock Purdy. Where do things stand on that injured left shoulder?
Laura, Kyle Shanahan said it was a long shot that Brock Purdy would be able to play on Sunday. John Lynch, the general manager, was even more certain that Purdy wouldn't play on Sunday. So it looks like it will be Brock Purdy at least Sunday and probably longer, because Kyle Shanahan also said that Purdy could miss multiple weeks. Coaches don't talk like that unless there's a realistic chance it's going to happen. So get ready for a little taste of the Mac Jones show for the 49ers. As for the Buffalo Bills' outstanding defensive tackle Ed Oliver, who played a great game last week against the Baltimore Ravens, he was spotted today in a walking boot, riding a scooter, and listed as a did not practice. In a week where the Bills are taking on the run-heavy New York Jets, they're going to need Ed Oliver, and it looks like there's a realistic chance they might not have him. Meanwhile, in Tampa, Chris Godwin returned to practice for the first time since suffering his ankle injury last year against the Baltimore Ravens. Both he and Tristan Wirfs, the Buccaneers left tackle, practiced today, and Todd Bowles, the Buccaneers coach, was pleased with how each player looked. Doesn't sound like they'll be ready to play this week, but they're beginning to ramp up both players with the hope and belief that they'll be ready here in a couple of weeks.
And of course, the Bucs on Monday Night Football. Monday, we have a doubleheader. They'll take on the Texans. Interesting to think about Chris Godwin joining that offense. Emeka Egbuka has already come on strong week one, plus Mike Evans. Our chances dropped from 76% to 60% after the loss in Brazil in week one. Additionally, their chance to win the AFC West and chance to win the Super Bowl were both cut in half. And check this out. Rob Gronkowski gave this boxing analogy when talking about the current Chiefs team.
Remember Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas? And Buster Douglas finally beat the crap out of Mike Tyson and made Mike Tyson not invincible anymore. Well, this is kind of the same situation. The Philadelphia Eagles punched him in the face. The Chiefs didn't know how to react to that because no one else was doing that. Well, going into this year now, the Los Angeles Chargers punched them in the face. The Chiefs were like, whoa, they're coming at us. How do we react? Well, they didn't know how to react because no one was doing that before. So the Philadelphia Eagles opened that floodgate of, hey, if you punch these guys in the face, you take it to them, you come out swinging, they're going to fold, and they're not going to be the team that you've been seeing all last year.
I love it. Thanks to the Up and Adams show for that. There was a trampoline behind him. Did you guys notice that? What'd you make of that, Dan?
I was looking at the hydrangeas. You don't make it to 7 straight AFC championship games by being soft, okay? So I will say this. We've talked about that they need to get more explosive offensively, and you give them grace because their number 1 and number 2 wide receiver are out, and one of them is a speedster. That being said, while that's going on, I need my strength to be my strength if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you go back to week 1 against the Chargers, the strength of this offense is supposed to be the interior of their offensive line. And they struggled. They struggled to move people off the line of scrimmage. They struggled in one-on-one situations. They struggled to displace people off the football. If we are going to, if we're the Chiefs offense, survive for some time without our perimeter players at full strength till we find out how to get explosive, we at least got to have our strength be our strength and win, strength be strength and win the interior part of our run game.
It's going to be even harder this week with Jalen Carter going to be out there, going to be playing. Isaiah Pacheco, a guy they need to get going. I look at this offense, though, at the same time, and I'm like, how do they figure out a way to be more explosive? Everyone's going to talk about going into this game is to attack Adoree Jackson. He's the weak link. I don't know that they have the guys to do so. I look at this game Friday night. You get in a situation, the Chargers are man-to-man all over the board. You pause this tape right here. Who is Patrick Mahomes supposed to throw the ball to? For Adoree Jackson, this game he matches up way better. There are no George Pickens out there. There is no CD Lamb out there. They have speed guys like Tyquan Thornton. They have a guy like Hollywood Brown, smaller guys that are thinner. Adoree matches up really well. I don't see an advantage for the Chiefs when it comes to that.
Yeah, and the Eagles' coverage is often one of those match coverages, right?
Yes.
You come to me and I stick to you, and really more often than not, the Chiefs have people open when it's that 5 to 8 yard route. Sure, you can get them open because it's a little bit softer.
Yeah.
Once you get 10, 12, 15 yards downfield, that's when they're getting locked up a little bit more. But to your point, if there is a week to have some success in the pass game, it's opposite Quinyon Mitchell and against the Eagles. And I want to see how Adoree plays now that pass rushing defensive tackle's back.
Yeah, if they're trying to create explosive plays, they won't have Rashee Rice back until week 6, but we'll watch for that matchup against Adoree Jackson in this game. All right, let's go to Bo Nix and the Broncos, staying in the AFC West. The Broncos beat the Titans in week 1, but quarterback Bo Nix struggled. His 19 total QBR was 3rd worst by any starter last week in front of only Tua Tagovailoa and Cam Ward. Nix was the only quarterback to win his start week 1 and post a QBR lower than 50. Peter, how's this team feeling about their second-year quarterback coming off a performance like that?
Might have been his worst performance of his career. Threw 2 bad interceptions, turnovers obviously, and yet they won. And one of the things that my Broncos sources actually liked was Bo just kept getting up and was lifting the team. Like, he didn't play great, but if you saw him at the end of the first half, he was rallying his teammates, and he was the one trying to get them all together. They survived this game. You need to survive and advance in this league. They are 1-0, just like the Chargers are, just like the Raiders are. They have no fears that Bo Nix isn't the guy. We know that, and it's a long season. The hope is week 1, get it out of the way, play the team you should win against, and they did. I would say here we're going to see a much different version of Bo Nix in week 2.
And I think the team felt like the defense carried it. And when the Broncos look around the league, it was not just Bo Nix that struggled in week 1. Probably half the